Oh yeah, people, before I start the video, you gotta listen to me talk for a sec. Well, you do listen to me talk, but you gotta listen to me talk about, other things. Have a look there on screen. The Zone. We've got Jake Paul, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We have the problem child versus, well, I mean, he really is a problem child. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. It's a meeting of the problem child. It will be live on The Zone. Link will be in the description. I'm also putting the link, right? You'll see it there on screen. There's a lot of Addy and G-Man content there. There's a little bit, I think there's a couple of episodes, a couple of clips of the look back that me and Addy did on Kell Brook Triple G. It's a good way to stay in touch, see what I'm at, kind of see what goes on. I don't really do that much of everyday stuff, but it's there nonetheless. It'll be pinned in the comment section. Hopefully you guys like it. Let me know. Until then. Alright people, I hope before we get into the video, I teased you a little bit at the start, didn't I? I kept it the old way, and then I would gradually bring you into the new way. So I hope you like it. Lighten, Mike. There's more to come. We've still got more to work with, more to play with. But I like to think that this looks, if nothing else, more professional. All right. If nothing else, more professional. I like to think it looks that. I like to think that. Obviously whenever I go home once or twice a month. I'm home twice in July. I'm home for a little bit in August as well in Dublin. When I go back home to Dublin, it will look a little bit more bog standard because, I don't know how I'm going to get some of this. If I ever decide to go home to Dublin full time, honestly, this light is really warm, just so you know. I don't know how I'm going to get any of this in a suitcase, but that's miscellaneous. Let's talk boxing. Let's talk the Bronze Bomber. So, boxing scene here are quoting Deontay Wilder from an interview he gave with Ariel Helwani last night. I think it was last night anyway, or it's a recent Ariel Helwani interview. And the title says here, and I quote, Deontay Wilder never thought about retiring after his losing streak. All right, so during his tumultuous appearance on the Ariel Helwani show, former WBC title holder announced that he would fight multiple times in 2025, seemed content with his personal life and described boxing as too dangerous for the world of sport. They have a word down there. Wilder, 39, has lost 4 of his last 5 fights, 3 of them by stoppage. From his 2019 rematch with Luis Ortiz, now a span of 6 fights, Wilder has landed 4 trademark right-hand bombs, 1 KO'd Ortiz, 1 erased Robert Helenius, and 2 knocked down Tyson Fury, but weren't enough to finish him off, and has won roughly as many rounds. In those 4 defeats, he was stopped in the 7th round by Fury in 2020, in the 11th round of their thrilling encounter in 2021, outboxed by Joseph Parker in 2023, and knocked flat by Zhilei Zhang last year. He's not competed since then. Wilder is due to fight Tyrell Herndon on June 27th. It is a Friday, just so you know, it's a Friday, at the legendary Charles Cook, probably, well, the first one is definitely not that, arena in Wichita, Kansas. That's a boxing city ever I heard one. Wichita, Kansas. It's done literally nothing but ale. It will be streamed on BLK Prime. Of course it will, because they are synonymous with boxing. His opponent's record, 24-5, 15 knockouts. This guy was stopped in the first round by a debuting F.A. Ajagba. While Richard Torres Jr., the newest Great American Hope, knocked him out in 2 rounds in 2023. He's won his last 3 fights since the Torres defeat, all against unheralded foes. You could say that again. 2 of those were split decisions against the formidable 8-9 Myrie Coleman and Rudy Silva, who was undefeated. He was 7-0 at 1 draw. You'd never guess Wilder had a fight in 11 days from his chat with Helwani. He seemed to be home instead of training camp, taking calls from the porch with his children occasionally popping into the frame. In his defence, this was past Sunday, Father's Day. He has 7 children. He described his journey from being selfless to selfish, adding, "It's all about me at this point." He said that betrayal had a significant impact on his life, likening this sensation to a dagger in the heart. Betrayal? I mean, define betrayal. In what sense? Wilder turned down. Well, you could say his team betrayed him. The likes of Al Heyman turning down $100 million to go on The Zone to fight his mandatory, and then fight Anthony Joshua. Yeah, now you could consider that betrayal, but no, he considers Mark Breland, the guy who had sympathy for him, threw in the towel in his fight against Tyson Fury. He considers him a double agent. One, it was the heavy suit, then it was he was spiked, then it was that Fury had egg weights in his gloves, then it was something else, then it was something else, and then it was something else, and then it was Mark Breland's fault. Yeah. Funny enough, JD's, who is still part of Team Wilder, he was the one who inspected the Fury hand wrap, so there you go, he's still part of Team. Now, listen, he says it won't end with Herndon, Wilder's cryptic message, Wilder's cryptical mention of future fight in another country. The mind goes to Saudi Arabia, where he could take part in a similar magnitude to his fight with Fury. A fight with Wilder, between Wilder and Joshua, is potentially also mateable, especially since tens of thousands of fans of Joshua in the UK. Whether in that bout or another, Wilder will fight someone with the capability of hurting him badly, and he might find the decision whether or not to retire is taken out of his hands entirely. So that is the article in of itself. That's what Boxing Scene are reporting on. Now, I don't need to go too much in great lengths into this, right? Wilder's fighting a guy he should handle soundly Friday fortnight. He should really handle him soundly, no questions asked. If Wilder looks good against him, I think for the casual audience, that's going to be enough for people to maybe stop and say, oh, maybe the Bronze Bomber is back. People, at the end of the day, he's 39 years old. He hasn't had a meaningful win. Some would argue he's never had a meaningful win. But in terms of a win over someone who came to really, really fight, you could say the last person he got a win over was Luis Ortiz in 2019, who really came to fight. That will be 6 years come November. That's the last meaningful win. And Ortiz at that time was slow as molasses. He was like, Ortiz, I think, is still fighting or still listed as being active. Man's got to be well in his 50s. I don't care. Officially, he's in his mid 40s. Man's got to be in his 50s. He surely has. That's his most meaningful win. So Wilder, look, yeah. Look, what do you want me to say about Deontay Wilder? That's not already said. I've said this several times. I've said and I've reiterated that he needs to call it a day. And the reality is, people like Malik Scott. Look, Malik Scott, I've not been impressed with what I've been seeing with Deontay Wilder under him, even in the Fury rematch, everything. But the way Malik Scott speaks, he speaks like someone who he's constantly trying to motivate Deontay Wilder, but not in a good way. Because Malik Scott is someone, as a fighter, who never made that much money. I've said this before about him. Never made that much money as a fighter. And for him, he's probably making more money as Wilder's trainer, even if he is only fighting once or twice a year, than he ever did out of his pro purses. Probably maybe more so in the Fury fight or some of the Riyadh season fights combined than he did in his whole career, you know? So he wants that bag to keep coming. The people around Deontay Wilder want to milk that bag out of him. And Deontay Wilder, who, when you listen to him in interviews, man's checked out. Mentally, he's checked out. And Wilder had an insane right hand that he could land. He had insane puncher power in that punch. He was able to land it. He had aggression. He had a burning desire to win. As I've said several times, you take that away, you are literally left with a domestic level fighter if you were to use UK standards. You know, Dave Allen spoke about fighting Deontay Wilder. Dave Allen is a very limited fighter, right? He's not a terrible fighter, but he's very limited. Dave Allen versus Deontay Wilder, if you take Wilder's right hand away, that then becomes a kind of like, okay, who has more left in the tank? What might happen? Because Wilder is quick, but he's not crazy quick. He has a long reach that he doesn't really tend to use. His jab is not really anything powerful. He's got not real much of a left hook. He's an occasional uppercut when he uses it. That's what he stopped Luis Ortiz with in the first fight. But that's it. He only had the right hand, and now he doesn't have it. Well, it's still there, but he's not using it. And now you see what we have. So, yeah, this is an interesting article. For me, Wilder needs to, he's obviously going to go ahead with this fight. He should win. But I think that Wilder needs to call it a day. He's 40 in October, and he needs to call it a day before he ends up getting himself hurt. Because the people who are around him, they don't have his best interest. I've said this time and time again. They do not have Wilder's best interest at heart. The only thing they care about is dollar green, and we will milk it until we are literally shaking that last drop of milk out of you, if it means we can get it. Because that milk comes out green. So those are my thoughts on this. Let me know yours in the comment section below. Deontay Wilder, not even planning on retiring, and will have more fights this year. We will talk more about Deontay Wilder next week, I have no doubt, because that's fight week. So there'll be a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about then. But until then, I hope you like this new setup. It is, as I said, very warm under this light, but it is worth it because I think it adds something to it. It's just something we're going to have to get used to. In the winter months, I will be glad about it. Don't get me wrong on that one. So let me know your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you liked the new setup. We will make more improvements. This isn't the finished article of the setup. There is more to come. Let me know your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed it. Peace.